Hey, Nightmare Gizmo. I'm still here. Hey, I just want to update y'all. In some of my videos, I may have complained about my shoulder hurting and stuff like that, and I just want to give you a little update on that, a little life update. I blew up my bicep, lifting a tire. I'm a mechanic by trade. Blew up part of my shoulder, so I was still able to work, but very limited. And then, of course, I'd really like the boat. I still have the boat. It ain't going nowhere. I am going to finish it. I just got to get myself better. This being 10/28 of 2022, we got more to add to the story to why I'm not putting any more content out. So maybe we should go back a little bit. So a few years ago, I had to go start seeing a doc. I started gaining weight. I complained about my chest hurting, complained about the heaviness in my chest. They said my blood pressure was kind of up there, but you know, we can give you medicine for that. We started off with some metformin and some low amount of blood pressure medicine, and you know, that seemed to work. Okay. You know, I just tried to, you know, work around all that stuff and started getting headaches. Again, my chest would start to hurt, blood pressure climbing. Again, going back to the doctor, explaining that situation. Months would go by, no problems at all. Then, the first time it happened, I was on my way to work, and I just felt like somebody was pounding on my chest. And I'm driving. I thought, man, this is really weird. I've never experienced this, and I got kind of dizzy. So I pulled over, and I just sat there for a minute, just trying to figure out like what's wrong. And I said, you know, I ain't taking a chance. And I just passed the hospital, so I turned around and drove up to the hospital. I walked inside. I explained to them what was going on. They said, wow, let's go ahead and, you know, let's do some tests, and we'll check for your enzymes to see if you're having a heart attack or have had a heart attack in the past few hours. Okay. Called my wife, let her know what was going on. She showed up. Spent probably 3 hours there. They came back and said, no, we don't find nothing in the enzymes. We don't see nothing there. Just, we're going to go ahead and release you because your blood pressure is fine right now. And just, you know, get with your regular doctor. Okay, sure. A few more months goes by. I was at work. My blood pressure was really high. My head was starting to hurt. My chest was feeling, you know, it was kind of hurting. And my boss actually drove me down to that same hospital I was just at. They took a look at me, tested for the enzymes, said there was nothing there. You didn't have a heart attack. Get with your doctor. I got with the doctor. She said, well, let's increase your blood pressure medicine. Okay, you know, that's a doctor, you know. So, again, time goes by, and my wife had noticed that my face and my head and everything was getting redder and more red. Almost like, you know when you have those embarrassing moments, you get asked something and it's just, you're getting real embarrassed and you can feel the heat, you know, and your face turns red and all that kind of stuff. But I was like that all the time. So I didn't know what was going on. We talked to the doctor about it, and they said, well, you know, your blood pressure is a little bit high, you know, so we're going to put you on some more medicines and this and that. And I'm like, wow, okay. So I noticed at work I started moving slower. I wasn't really getting things done in a timely manner that I should have had it done. I'd work out in the shop for 15, 20 minutes, have to go sit down for 15, 20 minutes. And so one night I was laying in bed, getting ready to go to sleep, and I just felt like my heart was just pounding and pounding, and finally, like I could actually hear it in my ear. That's how, I mean, like it was pounding in my ear. So I went and took my blood pressure, and I don't know, you know, when you think something's going on, you kind of panic a little bit. And the machine just wasn't working right, and I had a brand new machine still in the box. It was a more current machine. The other one I had for probably 10, 15 years. Maybe the batteries were going down, I don't know, but I kind of panicked. Don't get me wrong, I panicked. So I opened up the other box and I put that on, and it's a little different how it works. But what got me was when I was doing the blood pressure on there, on the cuff, it said that I had an irregular heartbeat. That was a red flag, I gotta say, because no one had ever said that before. They just said, you know, your blood pressure's high. So we go to the hospital. They gave me nitro because my blood pressure was really high when I got there. They gave me nitro. You know, that opens things up. I don't know if you've ever been on nitro or not, but that opens things up. So, okay. So the next day, I go up to the VA because that's where my primary care is. And we're going up there mainly to talk about this situation. You know, it seems like it's getting worse by month, by 2 weeks, by week, and me feeling all of these things. But every time I would go and see somebody, like, it's not doing what I'm describing. So, you know, how can you diagnose something if it ain't happening right then and there? So, okay. So, as I'm sitting there with the nurse, she's doing her pre-check, blood pressure, blah, blah, blah. And then as she's doing the blood pressure, I looked at her and I said, "Ma'am, it's happening right now." And she's like, "What do you mean, what's happening?" I said, "My chest feels just really heavy. My heartbeat I can feel it through my chest. And my ear, I can hear my heartbeat in my ear." And she says, "Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back." Now she was just the nurse who's getting me prepped before I go see my primary care. And so she comes back with a wheelchair. Okay. She says, "We're going to take you down to the ER." Okay, I'm down. So we get down to the ER, and again, by the time I got to the ER, we were like 3 stories up. By the time we got down to the ER, everything was right back to normal. They go do the tests, they do this, they do that. They, you know, you're not having a heart attack. Everything is just as normal as it could be. They didn't have to give me no nitro. And I was just like, well, I don't know what to tell y'all. That's just what's happening to me. So they called OU Medical, which is right across the street from the VA here in Oklahoma. And they asked for a second consult from a doctor's from OU. So he comes over there, and he comes and checks me out. He says, "I'm going to be back about an hour. I'm going to go look at your records." Okay. He comes back about an hour. He said, "You're in my care. I'm going to transfer you to OU Medical. And you'll be under my care until we can resolve this problem for you." Okay. I'm in, I guess. So we get over there, and apparently my blood sugar was really high, which means they really can't do anything until they get that down. So he does some other tests, this and that, and he says, "We're missing something. I want to do one more thing just to kind of confirm." He wants to do an angiogram. I don't know what that is. All of this is very new to me. So they, they go up my arm, up through my shoulder, down inside. They go and look down inside there, and he comes back up to the room after that, probably a few hours after that, comes back in the room and he says, "Hey, I've got a little bit of good news for you." I said, "Okay." He says, "You don't have to go back home tonight. You're going to stay here, and then we're going to talk about a few more things and give you some options. And those options are fully your choice of what to do." Okay. So he stays there, and he's, I don't want to get sidetracked, but he comes and stays in there for a little bit, and he says, "Here's what I've got. I got 2 veins that have, one of them is 85% closed. On the other vein, you've got 2 spots that are almost 90% closed." And he shows me the film. He's pointing exactly where it's at. Not that I could barely read it myself, I don't know. But if he says that's what I got, and if I'm having all these problems, and it sounds like he's on the ball. So he comes back to me, and he says, "Listen, we can go in and put in stents. If I go in and we attempt to do stents, and I deem that we probably can't do that, I'm going to pull back out. And then we're going to recommend open heart surgery." Okay. I said, all right. So he spent about 3 hours with us. Man, he was just a really good doctor. I mean, you could tell he really cared about his patients. I'll be really honest. And so he says, "I'm going to let your wife sit here, you and your wife sit here for a little bit and go ahead and talk about it. And then I'm going to come back about an hour, and I'm going to talk some more about it, and then you will have to let me know what you want to do." I said, "Okay." So we talked about it. And so he comes back and he says, "Well, what do you think?" And I said, "Well, if we're going to do a double bypass, I guess instead of stents, if that don't work, I guess we'll go in that direction." He says, "Okay, we will go ahead and get you prepped for that, and we'll go from there." So the very next morning, all my blood sugar was good, all that was good. They came and got me. We went down. We were in there, and for me, it just seemed like it was 20 minutes, but it was actually about an hour. And I was back up in my room. And he come back in there after I was kind of coming out of it, and he says, "Well, Rich, I couldn't do the stents. We need to go in and do a bypass." He said, "This will be the better outcome for you. I believe you actually have another vein that is probably not functioning correctly, to be really honest. But, you can only see so much through a scope going through your arm, Okay. So, me and my wife had to sit there and talk and have a very serious discussion of, let's weigh this out. The doc told me, he says, once you get on that table, anything can happen. And yeah, I know you're all thinking the same thing. Yes, anything can happen while you're on the table. So after, 5 hours of discussion and getting my affairs in order, the doc comes back in the next morning and says, "Well, what'd you guys decide? I'll do whatever you want, but what did you decide?" I said, "Well, we're going to go ahead and do the double bypass, and we'll go from there." And he says, "I just want to let you understand and remember that anything can happen. But But he said, listen, you were still working when you had this problem. You looked physically healthy for being 62. So, I'm going to give you a 98.9% of chance of living after I'm done. okay. He says, listen, I've got other people coming here that don't even have that chance, and you know, and they've gotten through it with no problems. I feel this is no big deal. I said, okay. So we said basically, how long will I be under? He said, well, for a double bypass, you're probably looking between 5.5 to 6.5 hours. You know, it just all depends. They got to pull a vein from your leg, all the way from your ankle up to your inner part of your thigh, and all that. And so there's a lot of components that are happening all at one time as they're doing that surgery. Okay. So I said, well, let's do it. That was June 14th, 2022. So off we go. We get down the side there and they do their deal. I wake up, recovery. Wow. A lot of machines hooked up to a person when you come out of recovery. I was just amazed of this thing that walked, that you, once you did get up and finally walk, I had to walk with. Amazing, of all these things that were beeping and not beeping and clicking and ticking, and everything was attached all around me. I mean, I'm waking up with all this stuff around me. Now, don't get me wrong, the doc told me that was going to happen. So it wasn't like I was in total shock, and my wife wouldn't be in total shock at how I looked when I come out of surgery, because there was probably like 8 or 9 little pod-looking machines all attached on one pole. I said, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So we're there for about a week. I'm doing good. They released me, got to go home. It took a little bit over 40 days for the VA to approve therapy. Little lax on their part, but at least we got in there. I just finished up therapy. I'm now able to walk easily a mile and a half, 2 times a day. I'm back at work. I just got back to work. Been there for about 2 weeks. But, you know, it wasn't an easy road. Nope, not an easy one. You know, Peggy really pushed me. She said, you got to get out of that bed. You've got to walk. You got to walk after surgery. You have to move. For those people that don't get up and move, your life expectancy is very short, even after that. Crazy, man. It's hard stuff. Hard to talk about. But I just wanted to make a video of maybe letting you guys know what's going on, that I am better, way better. Like I said, I walk a mile and a half twice a day. Currently, I've joined a club, so I can work on the treadmill and some other stuff in there and try to get some upper body strength back and all that kind of stuff. The doc said that would help even my bicep if I could just go work out a little bit. Okay, I'm in. So since surgery, I've lost 25 pounds, which for me is really good. I'm liking it, and I'm going to continue to keep working out to see if I can keep losing that weight. Because I got to tell you, move. You have got to move. I don't care if you get up and walk down to the end of your hallway and come back 2, 3, 4 times a day, but at least you did that. So, and plus I had a really good support system, I have to say. My mom, Peggy, the guys at work, you know, they help me out in ways I can't, I don't have words to say for other than thank you. But, you know, if you think you've got a problem in your chest, man, don't be that man. Man up and go see a damn doctor. That's what you need to do. I kind of put mine off because, you know, you get proud. You know, you're a man, you're proud. Oh, I'm not having that problem. That's not happening to me. You know, I don't smoke. I don't drink. I haven't drank in 15 years. So surely that's not me. Can't be me. No, can't be me. Yeah, guess what? It was me. Oh, this is an update on what actually happened. So during the surgery, triple bypass, 3 veins replaced, or, you know, bypassed, a little over 8 hours, which, of course, I didn't know that. Poor Peggy, you know, she's in frantic, but they were really good. When it got up to the 5th hour, somebody was talking to her every hour to keep her updated, and they actually sat with her for a good 10 to 15 minutes just to be sure that she was okay. You know, it's you know, it's a lot for a partner to go through this because, again, anything can happen on that table. Anything can happen. And I was prepared that I didn't want to take that chance and be that guy, because on my situation, everybody's situation is different. My situation was my veins were on the heart attack side, meaning I was literally a walking dead man. Literally. The other side of the heart, those veins are clear. That's the stroke side. They said those are in fantastic, you know, shape. He said, but the other side is you're lucky to be here right now, because it could have got real worse, real bad, real fast. And when it happens on that side of the heart, it's good night, Gracie. You're all said and done. So, anyway, updated my meds. I have lost over half the meds I was taking, and I'm taking like the tiniest pill. I mean, the tiniest pill for my blood pressure, because in the past 2.5 months, they've just either been lowering or just get rid of it altogether. So that's really good news on my part, because I hate taking pills. Absolutely, it bothers me to no end. So now, let's get back to the other side of the channel. The channel is I'm Nightmare Gizmo, and I restore stuff. I rebuild stuff. And I try to give, I think, good input on whatever I'm doing. So guys, just let you know, I had to put the boat to the side. Another project has rolled up. A 1972 Chevy short ride truck. So I will be bringing out videos for that, of everything that I'm doing. Am I going to have good input, you know, doing the work I'm doing? I'm going to be doing a couple of different type of customization. But, you know, I love all the questions that people come back at me from all the other stuff that I've done. It's great to see. I'm not monetized in any way, because I don't produce enough videos to get monetized. So that's okay. I'm good with that. If I can share something that would make your life easier, whether it be this heart situation, or whether I'm working on a car or a truck or a mini bike or whatever, I am more than happy to pitch in my 2 cents. And so, with that being said, man, I'm glad to be alive. I am so glad. And hopefully we can get some more video content of this truck I'm working on. And and the boat, we're going to finish the boat, but we're just going to have to work on the truck first, because I have been buying parts for this truck for 5 years. I literally almost have every piece brand new, literally. And I felt like the boat needed more work than I was really willing to, to put into it for right now. So I brought the old 72 in, and we'll just see how that goes. Hey, I really appreciate it. If this is the first time you're watching the video, and if you like the content, go ahead and subscribe. I will get more content out. I promise you. I promise you. I will get more content. And hit that like button. I mean, again, I'm not monetized, but I think it's great that y'all are watching my stuff and all that. So anyway, that's what I got. A life update. Thanks for watching. Hopefully maybe you guys learned something. And you guys, gals, if you think there's something going on with your chest or your heart, go get checked. Get checked. I promise you. I'd rather hear about that you're okay and laughing about it than never hear from you. So get checked out. All right, this is Rich, Oklahoma. Nightmare at Gizmo. We gone.